We finally have the full list of the 2025 All-Stars, starting with the starters, of course, and moving on to the bench guys. We're going to cover all that here today, but I want to ask you guys, who do you think got snubbed? I know there's going to be a lot of the same comments, but I'm curious about who you think got snubbed. Is it LaMelo? Is it Luka or Kyrie? Although it could be injury related stuff, not playing enough game, blah blah blah. With some of these guys. Is it Trey? Who is it? Let me know in the comments. So we're going to start with the starters and then move from there. Make sure you subscribe because 80% of viewers aren't subscribed. Make sure you join in the 20% that is. All right. So a week ago, we announced the starters, but we're going to talk about the reserves that got announced today as well. Steph, Shea, KD, LeBron, and Jokic. I believe it's in Golden State, isn't it? That's pretty cool for Steph to get the opportunity to start there. And actually, I think it's in LA next year. So that could be cool if LeBron is also playing to be able to start and potentially win an MVP. You know, I think that's probably what Steph's going to go for, you know, in your hometown. So if that is what's happening, I believe that's the case. So I think that's pretty cool. Pretty much all deserving guys. I did see when this came out on the topic, people upset about Steph being here. And then I also saw people upset about LeBron being here over AD. Some of this is also, I think the way that the split is that there's a split between fan voting and then coaches and stuff like that. So if you're wondering about some of that, that's part of it too. So anyways, it's cool to see LeBron, KD, Steph as well in the starting group once again, and Shea and Jokic, the two MVP leaders, in my opinion, being there as well. And my God, the West is stacked. Let's talk about the East All-Star starters. Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Giannis, Tatum, and Cat. I'm cool with this for the most part. Donovan doesn't have the statistical output, some of the other guys, but that's just because that team, they're so good and they're only playing their guys like 30 minutes, 29 minutes. Like it's pretty awesome, actually. I like what the Cavs are doing. And you'll see why also a little bit later. I really like what the Cavs have done. So anyway, Jalen, I'm cool with that too. I saw that a lot of people were upset about it. Like, here's a comment. Jalen Brunson, the most overrated player in the league, and it's not close. Cade is better than Brunson, and Mitchell and Trey is better than Brunson too. So Brunson over Trey and Cade is comical. Is Brunson having a down year? And it wouldn't necessarily be because it's a down year. It would be because of new additions. Hey, he's still putting up 26, 3, and 7. I mean, he's still he's still doing his thing, you know. So maybe he catches people off guard because he came out of nowhere after coming to New York. So maybe that's what it is. So anyway, here's a look at the West All-Star reserves. And okay, cool. I thought I lost the page. Anyway, the West All-Star reserves. So Ant, AD, James Harden, Jaren Jackson Jr., Alperen Sengun, Jalen Williams, and Victor Wembanyama. So I'm just going to say some of these guys are like, obviously. Like Wemby, yeah. AD, obviously. And obviously. I do like the other inclusions, specifically Jalen Williams. So I really like the Jalen Williams inclusion because I think he doesn't get enough love. I think he doesn't get enough notoriety. He's not talked about enough. I think Jalen Williams is a stud. He is awesome, bro. He is so good, and I really like the respect that they're putting on him, making him an all-star. I'm pretty sure for the first time in his career, unless I missed it somehow last year. But regardless, Jalen Williams making it here is pretty awesome. So aside from that, Sengun. I think Sengun's giving you 19, 10, and 5, which is good enough numbers, obviously, to make it. Let me pull them up here. 19, 10, and 5. Those are absolutely all-star numbers. And also, you want to put some respect on another team that's been among the league leaders in terms of best teams for the season. So the West has also been super duper competitive. The East is starting to be that way too, where the standings are starting to reflect how competitive that conference is too. But the West, I think it's a different beast, and they've consistently been like a top 2-3 seed for most of the year. So got to put some respect on arguably their best player there. So 19, 10, and 5, I like it. I just, my only gripe with him, and this is not a knock on him, I just wish he was a little bit more efficient, but some of that's just the shot selection that he has and the way he kind of has that loosey-goosey play style. You know, I don't mind any inclusion that they have here. I'm not really one that gets mad about snubs or anything like that, but maybe Sabonis could have had this spot, maybe. But again, the Kings have been in a lot of turmoil this year. So like I said, I'm not really mad about anything, but I'd imagine people would be kind of talking about this. My God, this guy's getting nearly 15 rebounds a game. Sheesh. 21 points, 6.5 assists as well, and playing basically every game. Man, dude, Sabonis is nuts. But kudos to Alpi making his first All-Star game as well. And again, something going to the fact that they're also just one of the better teams in the league. I think that matters, right? Like we can't have All-Star games be all the guys on the bottom teams. Like what the heck is Poole doing? Because Poole was saying the other day that he thinks he should be an All-Star. And I don't care if he's averaging 26 and 5. Like 20, you weren't even putting up All-Star numbers. I was gonna say, I don't care if he's even putting up 26 and 5. He shouldn't be an all-star the way that team's lost 15 games in a row twice. So moving on from that, I wanted to also talk about the Eastern guys. Oh, actually, Jaren Jackson and Harden. Let's talk about them briefly. Firstly, Harden, I think, is giving you 22, 8, and 5, something like that. I think Harden has been balling this year. He's obviously not the James Harden of 5-6 years ago, but I really do like the way he transitioned his game once leaving Houston into being more of a point guard, and he's been great at it, man. And I really like the way that team retooled with the defensive players that they added, and the way that they were able to restructure that roster after losing a max level player. I don't want to call him a star because I'm pretty low on PG right now, but okay. Star. But I think that the Clippers have done a great job. It's not only him, they got great production from Zubac and several guys like Powell's been awesome. So Harden, I think, making it there is fine. And then there are other all-star type guys that are not going to be there. Like I said, Luka, Kyrie, Kawhi, of course, Joel Embiid, PG, maybe Maxey. Maybe Maxey is, but most of those guys, not so much Maxey, but the other guys, it's largely just because they haven't really been out there as much. That's more or less why they're not going to make these, because like obviously if Luka played enough, he's going to be a starter. Like it is what it is. So that's more or less kind of what's going to happen. So there's obviously notable names that aren't here, but for the most part, I really like this. And Jaren Jackson, I think, has been their best player this year. Is that a hot take? I feel like Ja's not taking as much shots, and it's really depressing his statistics. But I think Jaren's been awesome, and I really love the way he's retooled his game. Now, the East is fun. The East is super fun because what they have going on here is they got Jaylen Brown. That's not a surprise. They got Siakam. Okay, I'm not mad at that. Actually, I think, what's Siakam doing? Like 25 points? Is he doing 25? 20.5 is what I saw. Okay, I was like, I saw something in passing. 20.5. 20.5, 7.3, and 3.5. Okay. So not the craziest, but that's fine. Darius Garland, I like that a lot. Darius, I think, is giving 21 and 6. I think that's about where he's at. Yeah, 22 and 7, if you want to round up. And he is playing in most of their games at 30 minutes even. So yeah, really, really, really great production from him. Making, what is this, his second All-Star game? So that's pretty cool. After that, we have Cade. Cade making his first All-Star game, I'm pretty sure, right? But Cade's been awesome this year, bro. He's easily one of my favorite players in the league. 25 and 9 production, has that team competing, has that team hooping, even after losing his backcourt mate. They have been awesome. So Cade absolutely deserves it. And I wouldn't have been mad if he was a starter, to be honest. I don't know that he had the fan vote to be a starter, but I wouldn't have been mad. I wouldn't have been mad. Cade is awesome. Mobley making his first All-Star game as well. Same with Tyler Hero making his first All-Star game as well. And Dame too. So Tyler, if anybody, and like Mobley, I'm not going to cover all too much. Like I think he deserves to be there. And the Cavs having 3 All-Stars is perfectly fine. I think the Thunder would have 3 All-Stars if Chet was healthy. That was healthy, but Mobley's been awesome. 18, 9, 3, and then also the defensive force that he is. He's also, last I saw, expanded his range. Yeah. He's shooting 40% from 3. I'm low-ish volume, but still 3 attempts per game from your power forward is pretty good. So Mobley's been awesome. He's fine. This is a perfect inclusion. And then the Cavs, as like I said, having 3 All-Stars. I was hoping they'd give Allen that so they could be like the Hawks a few years ago where all their guys get in. But they've been awesome, man. They're starting to come back to the pack a little bit. But they have been, for most of the season, far and away the best team. Went on that crazy run. Like the Cavs deserve all of the love. Seriously. Dame, he's Dame. We know he's actually having a better year than he was last year. He talked about how last year he didn't do things in the offseason. He didn't want to get hurt, blah, 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 blah. So Dame there. But Tyler is giving, I think, 25, 5 and 5, 24, 5 and 5, something like that. And I think, 24, if you want to round up, 24, 6 and 5. And shooting 40% from 3 on 10 attempts per game. Jeez. 17 field goals. Yeah. Tyler's been awesome. And playing 35 minutes. So some of that is also why Jimmy was salty, because they were kind of moving the team away from him a little bit. The usage was going to Tyler, was going to Bam. And Bam also not here. I'm not sure if that's an injury thing or if they just felt he wasn't statistically there. But that's another player that could potentially be listed as a quote-unquote snub. But Tyler's been awesome too. And then there are other guys that are kind of like right there too that could be look at Cavs with 3 All-Stars. There's other guys that could be right there too. Like I talked about LaMelo. Here's a nod for Halliburton. He was the one I was going to bring up. Trey also not listed. Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic. Zach has been awesome this year, but I mean, on a team that's performing that poorly, and same goes for LaMelo, although, like I said, he got hurt, but he might have been back in time for that game anyway. And that's also why I think Maxey isn't here too. I think Maxey, he deserves it, but his efficiency has been in the can for most of the year. He's rebounded it in a big way, but it's not been great overall. But yeah, I think this makes a lot of sense, this list. Like I said, there's a lot of guys you can kind of point to. Like I mentioned Sabonis earlier. I think there's guys you could point to on either way, and you can maybe make an argument for some of those guys to be starters. We're talking a lot about the Eastern reserves, Western reserves as well, but it's pretty cool, man. I'm excited about this. So if you're excited, make sure you hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Like I said, remember, post down below which guys got snubbed. I'll be watching.